The time is almost here. One of my favourite shows in the calendar year, Impact Wrestling Slammiversary. With a twist this year, it is the 20-year celebration of Impact Wrestling. And what a better way to do it than with Slammiversary. That's got a great show installed with a lot of the talent that we've got right now in Impact Wrestling, with a few TNA originals coming in as well, along with some of the special matches that made Impact Wrestling original and unique. All of that going to be discussed and more here today on SCW. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave the comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. Now, before I give my predictions, here's a look at the match card that we've got. I think we'd all agree there, a fantastic looking card. Let's go straight into the predictions then, and straight into what will be the main event of this show, the Impact World Championship, the face of Impact Wrestling and your champion in 2022, Josh Alexander, defending against Eric Young, the leader of Violent by Design. Once a TNA original in the company, he debuted in TNA in 2004. We saw a fantastic video package, of course, of Eric Young, the evolution of his character going through all the years, doing what he needed to keep himself with Impact Wrestling, to the point where now, today, he is Eric Young, the real, true Eric Young, doing what he wants to do when he wants to do it. And of course, as well, Josh Alexander has to worry about the numbers game here. Will Joe Doring or Deonna play a factor in the result of this match? In my personal opinion, no, I don't think they will, because like I said, Eric Young is a TNA original, is a face of the past, is someone that is quite suitable for this show celebrating 20 years. Eric Young has given a lot of years to the company. Of course, he was away for about 4 or 5 years when he was with WWE and NXT, but of course, apart from that, he's always been reliable Mr. Impact Wrestling in and around the scene. So for me personally, it makes so much sense that he's there. I do feel the match is slightly predictable, but I will say that both athletes have got definitely what it takes to make an absolute barn burner of a main event. I think it's going to be an excellent contest between these two. But as I said, Josh Alexander is the face of Impact Wrestling. He's going to be a world champion for a very long time, and he's going to carry that brand on his back. So for me, it's crucial Josh Alexander picks up the victory. Next, let's talk about the Impact World Tag Team Championships. The Briscoes defending against the Good Brothers. A return match from the multiverse of matches that took place on WrestleMania weekend. And when these two teams faced before, the Good Brothers picked up the victory. And of course, the Good Brothers were Impact World Tag Team Champions at that time. They lost the championships to Violent by Design, who then lost the championships to the Briscoes at Under Siege. And here we are now, and personally for me, looking at this match, it's been a lot of fun watching it being put together. Of course, the Good Brothers doing their top 10 Impact moments, and most of them defeating the Briscoes at that match. And of course, going to the farm as well and seeing the beatdown going on there, having a look around the farm, only finding one chicken. I thought it was quite entertaining stuff, I'm not going to lie to you. But this time, the Briscoes are going to pick up the victory. They're going to retain those Impact World Tag Team Championships. For me, the Good Brothers, I mean, I'm going off speculation on my part here, but they signed a multi-year deal and they joined Impact Wrestling at Slammiversary in 2020. I have a feeling that when they said multi-year deal, it was a 2-year deal, and I've got a feeling they're going to be going back to New Japan. They're already in New Japan doing stuff over there. Carl Anderson is a never openweight champion. So I've got a funny feeling this could be almost a bit of a swan song of them being full-time Impact talents. Now, I do think that they will come back for tapings, because Impact and New Japan right now do have a bit of a working relationship going on. We've seen the likes of Jay White and of course Bullet Club being there. And of course Chris Bay is part of the Bullet Club. So is Ace Austin now as well. We'll be talking about later. So I do think the Good Brothers will be back, but I just don't think they'll be in and around full time with Impact after this. So for me, this seems to be, in my opinion, a bit of a swan song and a goodbye. I think in a few weeks they'll go off. So for me, the Briscoes will carry the mantelpiece going forward as Impact World Tag Team Champions. And just before I go to the next match, I hope I'm wrong with my speculation, by the way. I hope the Good Brothers are sticking around. One of the best tag teams in the world, and yes, they're doing great things in Japan as well, but I'd like them to remain in Impact Wrestling if that is possible. Although Carl Anderson did do a press conference in New Japan after winning the Never Openweight Championship and did say that he doesn't do his best performances in front of a couple of hundred fans, having a real dig at Impact when doing that, and of course saying that in Japan he pulls out his best performances. So we'll have to wait and see what will happen going forward after this, but I'm sure that's probably not going to endear themselves when it comes to Slammiversary. I think that the crowd will probably give them a lot of heat, and it could actually add to what could be this tag team title match, but definitely the Briscoes will retain. Speaking of Ace Austin and Bullet Club, let's talk about his Ultimate X match that we've got next now, defending the X Division Championship against 5 other wrestlers. Of course, some of them actually won qualifying matches to get to this spot, the likes of Trey, Miguel, Speedball, Mike Bailey, and of course, Honor No More's Kenny King. We've got 2 other wrestlers that have been announced for the match as well. Jack Evans, of course, returning back to Impact Wrestling, of course, recently being released by AEW. And of course, the last one, Alex Zayne, who of course was attacked by Ace Austin not long after joining Bullet Club. Of course, him and the Bullet Club members all attacking him, and we saw that clip on Impact Wrestling as well this past week. Now, I'm really looking forward to this match as well. In particular, Ultimate X, it is what put TNA on the map, one of the original match types. So really excited to see this being put on this show on the 20-year celebration. And as it comes to it, we've got 6 superstars that do crazy things, all can do high flying, all agile, all fantastic performers. This literally could go any way. I do always believe that Speedball Mike Bailey will be a long-term X Division champion in Impact Wrestling, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him win the championship here at Slammiversary. But at the same time, coming off the Best of Super Juniors, Ace Austin has been away, of course, while all his qualifying matches have been going on. He's joined Bullet Club. He's made himself a big deal in the wrestling world as well. Of course, New Japan, a new fan base to be exposed to amongst the world. A lot of people are talking about Ace Austin. So for me personally, I think it's the right thing to keep the championship on him. I know I'm going with a lot of retains right now, but for me, I think it would be the right move. Although I do expect Impact to perhaps change the belt over to Speedball Mike Bailey, I'm going to still predict Ace Austin to do so because I think it's the right move for the company at this point. From one match that put TNA on the map to another match, of course, the King of the Mountain match, although it's going to be done differently. For the first time ever, we've got Queen of the Mountain. We've got 5 knockouts competing for the Knockouts Championship. And of course, it's almost like a reverse ladder match. We'll go for a little bit of the rules of this one because we've not seen one in Impact for a very, very long time. So basically, it's a bit like a ladder match, but before you can go and retrieve the championship, you have to score a pinfall or submission in the match. So once you've done that, you're eligible to go and claim the championship. But of course, for the person that's been pinned or submitted in the match, they're not out of the match. They have to go into a penalty box for an allocated period of time, maybe 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes. Deonna Purrazzo was actually even explaining about this on commentary, saying that if you're in there, you get time to rest up. If you're in there with someone else, you can have 2 people in there at once. Maybe you can form an alliance as well. Maybe you'll start hitting on each other whilst in the penalty box. Who knows how it's going to go down. So let's go through the competitors that we've got in the match. We've got the Knockouts champion, Tasha Steelz, defending against Deonna Purrazzo, we've just mentioned. We've got the returning Mia Yim, who's come back to the company. We've got Chelsea Green. And of course, we've got Jordynne Grace. And that's not all. We've got a special enforcer in this match as well, in Mickie James. So it's great to see her back in the Impact Zone as well. She's done many great things over the 20 years in Impact Wrestling, including some stuff up to date as well, including Hard to Kill's main event earlier this year. It's going to be interesting to see what role she'll play into the match. Of course, the last time we see her, she had a bit of beef going on with Chelsea Green. I can see that actually playing a part into this match, perhaps ruling Chelsea Green out of the victory. Mia Yim and Deonna Purrazzo were sort of starting off some sort of rivalry, so I could expect that to continue after this as well. So that would leave probably Tasha Steelz or Jordynne Grace, unless they want to put the championship into the Mia Yim Deonna Purrazzo feud, which I wouldn't be surprised about either. Now in Impact Wrestling, of course, Deonna Purrazzo has been a long-term Knockouts champion in the company, but for me, one thing's for sure, I think it's time to change this championship. The Knockouts championship has been with Tasha Steelz now for about 3 or 4 months now. I think a change of the guard is needed just to freshen things up in the division. She's been a good champion, but for me, I'd like to see Mia Yim or Jordynne Grace win the championship. Personally, for me, Mia Yim coming in the hot streak, getting the headlines, I think perhaps would make the most sense right now. Although, like I say, I'm a big fan of Jordynne Grace. I'd like to see her hold the gold. But to make a prediction, I'm going to go with Mia Yim. That way she can go into a feud with Deonna Purrazzo, defend the championship at the next show, which I believe is against all odds. And perhaps maybe we can continue with Jordynne Grace and Tasha Steelz maybe arguing with each other, who actually was the reason that they lost this match. And as well, we have Chelsea Green and Mickie James. Maybe that can be built for some point later down the line also. Next, let's talk about the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships, the influence of Tenille Dashwood and Madison Rayne defending against Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie. There's a story to be told here. Of course, we've not got Decay in this like I thought we would. Havoc has not been seen since losing to Masha Slamovich a few weeks ago. And of course, this actually brings an interesting topic with Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie. Once friends in Impact Wrestling, but of course, who remembers who shot Johnny Bravo? We get to talk about that storyline in Impact Wrestling. Of course, Taya Valkyrie was the culprit involved with that. Of course, Larry D was involved at some stage of it as well. But of course, Taya Valkyrie was hauled off to prison. Of course, that's of course when she was off to WWE and NXT. But she's not there anymore, and she's been involved in Impact Wrestling and come back and won the Reina del Reinas Championship, and now she's looking to win the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships. And of course, she came to Rosemary's defense just recently on Impact TV. Rosemary still seemingly upset about everything. Taya saying that she's sorry. There seems to be a will they coexist storyline going on in the tag team division. So this could be a lot of fun. I'm going to be open-minded with this match, to be brutally honest. I do prefer to see actual tag teams go for the championships, but as I say, there is history here with Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie, and I've got a funny feeling they're going to win the championships. That makeshift tag team, can they get back on the same page? There's probably a bit of a story to tell, which probably won't be resolved on Slammiversary. They can probably actually ride this out until Bound for Glory time. So yeah, I'm going to go for new women's tag team champions. But of course, there is always a way where we could go where they lose and then they go against each other. But we'll have to wait and see how it will play out. But I'm going to go for new Knockouts tag team champs. It's another one of those matches that put TNA on the map. Next now, Monsters Ball. And tell you what, Abyss was the one that always made it famous to start off with, but someone that's made it famous in recent times when it's not Decay, of course. It is, of course, Sami Callihan. Is perfect for a death match, perfect for no rules matches. He will be taking on Moose in a match that's probably arguably the most personal of all the matches on this show. Of course, Sami Callihan was taken out last year. Of course, him and Eddie Edwards were actually a team at that point, if you can believe it, by Moose and W. Morrissey. W. Morrissey is no longer with Impact either at this stage, so it is Moose that is going to have revenge taken on him by Sami Callihan. Of course, at every turn, making attacks when he can, and they even attacked in the back in what something felt like a bit like a Saw movie scene, to be brutally honest, with Moose being locked in the locker room. Of course, Sami Callihan was busted open as well at that point, a key to the eye as well. It looked pretty brutal. It feels like it's the perfect match type for these two. It's personal, it's bloody, it feels like it's going to go to all depths here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see barbed wire, thumbtacks, the works in this one. For me personally, Sami's violent way and need to get revenge could haunt him in this match. Of course, usually the one that brings in the thumbtacks is usually the one going into them. So I wouldn't be surprised if Moose was to pick up the victory in this match, but I do think it probably does make more sense for Sami Callihan to go over here because, well, they're going to need to build another number one contender, although I'm not sure this will be a one and done rivalry, even though this is one of the biggest shows of the year in a big match type. Sami Callihan said this is never over. So let's wait and see if those words are true. But I'm going to go for Sami to pick up the victory. But for me, this one could go either way. With Against All Odds only a couple of weeks away, I wouldn't be surprised to see a rematch there. And what I will say is Sami Callihan will win the feud in the end, even if he doesn't win here, even though I am predicting he will win here. Last match that's currently advertised on the Impact website is Honor No More going against Impact Originals. Of course, we're talking Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, the Motor City Machine Guns, along with Frankie Kazarian. Great to see him back as well in Impact Wrestling here, doing some performances here for the company. The thing is with this one, I've left it to the end because I do believe there are some spoilers already out about this, so this gives you a chance to get out now of the video or skip ahead if you don't want to know what's meant to have happened. Now, of course, I'll go for the story just a little bit quickly first before I do, for those that want to stick around. So basically, Honor No More wanted a match against the Good Brothers, and they couldn't get what they want, so they said, well, if we can't get what we want, remember Scott D'Amore, no one's going to get what they want. We had a match that was Chris Sabin against Frankie Kazarian, two Impact Originals going against one another. This match was ruined by Honor No More. Of course, Alex Shelley got himself involved as well, and Honor No More, they were dominant at the start here. Of course, then was another match, of course, with Rhino being taken out as well. It was quite violent the way it was done as well. He was put on the shelf. Heath wanting to get revenge as well. He was taken out also by Honor No More. So it's not going to be those guys that are going to fill up the numbers here for this 10-man tag. But the belief is it will be men brought in by D'Lo Brown. Who remembers Aces and Eights, of course. Briscoe and Bischoff coming back in will be the team that will be joining in here, which I think will be quite fun because that was a group that wanted to tear down Impact Wrestling back in the day as well. So it'd be kind of fun to see Aces and Eights against Honor No More. I think that would be quite a fun twist in this match. I do expect the originals to go over here, even though it probably does make more sense here for the heels to go over, because this show is all about nostalgia, isn't it, at the end of the day? It's not necessarily about building the new stars all the time for the future. I did say at the start of the video that's what they will do with Josh Alexander, but that's your world title. This is a 10-man tag, and if I'm being brutally honest, if we're going to get one more match here that is synonymous with Impact Wrestling, it's Lethal Lockdown. I know it's War Games and it's done in other companies as well, but we've not seen it for a long time in Impact. I'd love it to be announced on the Go Home show here. I'm not aware if it is or isn't, but I'd love to see it go down. But yeah, I'm going to go for the TNA Originals to pick up the victory in this match. Like I say, it's that feel-good factor, but for me, I would actually be rooting for Honor No More. I'm always about pushing the here and the now, so that's what I want, but I think the Originals will pick up the win. Not advertised on Impact's website at this point, but Rich Swann will be defending the Digital Media Championship against Brian Myers, of course, at Slammiversary. Now, of course, Rich Swann did win the championship at an indie show from Matt Cardona. Cardona hit a low blow after the match and stole the championship. Of course, he's injured. He's going to be out for quite a while, and he presented the championship to Brian Myers. So that is a match that I expect will be added to the card, even though it's not advertised at this moment. I like that Brian Myers said, well, you shouldn't be the champion. You don't even have a Twitter account. But I do think Rich Swann will be picking up the W. Before I leave you, I should just go through as well, will there be any sort of debuts or returns at this show? I'd like to see some nostalgia come in. I mean, we've seen the likes of Shark Boy already appear on Impact TV on the build to Slammiversary, so bring him in for sure. As for debuts or returns in that format, for me, I'd like to see Johnny Impact come back in. Of course, Taya Valkyrie is already there. Johnny Elite is not signed with All Elite Wrestling, so for him to come and do some dates in Impact, I think would be quite good. A former Impact World Champion. I think that would build nicely as well for the main event scene of Impact, which I do think could do with one or two names at the moment. I do think it's lacking in that department, and I do think as well Dakota Kai would be an amazing get if they can bring her in. I think she'd be one of the standouts of the Knockouts division and could go straight to the top very, very early on. I'd love to see Dakota Kai against Deonna Purrazzo. That's one of the matches that would definitely be on the bucket list should she come in. But those are two names that I'm going to throw in the hat that I'd like to see turn up, but I don't think this show is not necessarily about that this year. It is all about the nostalgia. It's about celebrating 20 years where we've seen, you know, the landscape change over the last couple of years. It's not really built around that, but I would like to see one or two come in just because, well, yeah, we are celebrating 20 years, but we do need to think about what's going to be going ahead for Impact as well. So that's my predictions there for you. Let me know your predictions in the comments below. I'm interested to think who you think will be the winners and losers of this show. If you've enjoyed this video, then please do like it. It really does help the channel as well. Go a long way. Can spread this further out into YouTube. Subscribe to the channel as well. That can do that also. And share with a friend. Word of mouth really does go a long way. Honestly, I'm so grateful for everyone that does support this channel, but always could do with more support. So if you are a first-time viewer, then please do support the channel, subscribe, like the video, share your predictions, and let a friend know that SCW is here. But that's all from me anyway. Thank you for watching. Check out some of the videos on the side of your screen right now. Take care. Have yourselves a great day. Enjoy Slammiversary. And also, if you want a review of this year's Slammiversary, let me know in the comments. I'm going off your feedback here. If you want a review, I may just put it here on the channel. Take care. Have a good day. I'll see you next time.